Miss, are you okay?
In the heart of Manhattan, Clara Evans once had the world at her feet. A scholarship to a top soccer academy in London. A future written in gold. But she gave it all up for Daniel Brooks, the man she thought would stand by her forever. The morning of her wedding should have been perfect, but instead, it became the most humiliating day of her life. Clara's world shattered when her half-sister, Sophia, spiked her wine the night before the ceremony. Clara woke up confused, groggy, and late. By the time she arrived at the venue, Daniel was already at the altar. But the bride beside him wasn't her. It was Sophia, the same sister who had always envied her smile, her mother's love, and her talent. Humiliated and betrayed, Clara ran from the church. The rain poured harder as her veil tangled around her shoes. She stumbled into the streets, breathless and heartbroken. A young boy's voice cut through the chaos. "Miss, are you okay?" It was Eli, a 9-year-old with wide brown eyes and a soccer ball under his arm. Beside him stood a stranger, tall, composed, with the calm intensity of someone used to commanding crowds. Adrian was back in New York after years as an assistant coach in London. He had returned quietly, avoiding cameras, searching for purpose beyond fame. And there, in front of him, was a broken woman who once gave up soccer, the sport he lived for. He recognized her instantly. Clara Evans, the prodigy who vanished from the London Academy's roster years ago. "What happened to you, Clara?" he asked softly. Her eyes filled with tears. "Life happened." Clara's late mother had owned Manhattan United, a small but beloved youth soccer club now on the brink of collapse. Sophia wanted to sell it, to erase every trace of their mother's dream. But Clara refused. That club was her mother's legacy, and maybe her only chance to find herself again. Adrian's eyes lit up. "Then let's save it together." Eli beamed. "Can I play there?" Adrian smiled. "You already have the heart of a champion." Sophia's fury grew when she learned Adrian was backing Clara. She drained the club's accounts, blacklisted Clara from banks, and spread rumors to ruin her credibility. Still, Clara fought back. Adrian used his global influence to announce he was joining Manhattan United. Not as a player, but as a coach and investor. The media exploded. The struggling club suddenly became front-page news. "Clara Evans," reporters said, "the fallen bride who turned betrayal into power." But Sophia didn't stop there. One evening, a nurse showed up at the club claiming she was sent for Eli's medical checkup. Clara hesitated, but Adrian's instincts caught something off. Moments later, he caught the nurse trying to inject something suspicious into Eli's glucose pack. Adrian's voice thundered, "Who sent you?" The nurse panicked and fled, leaving behind a fake ID. Adrian made sure she was reported and banned. From that day on, he swore to protect Clara and Eli like his own. Under Adrian's leadership, Manhattan United came alive again. New training gear, renovated fields, scholarships for kids from low-income families. Clara worked tirelessly beside him, running fundraisers, coaching girls, teaching them to fight back from failure. The bond between them grew, quietly but deeply. And every time Adrian looked at Eli, something inside him stirred, a strange familiarity he couldn't explain. Just when life seemed to settle, Sophia struck again. Clara was shopping for soccer equipment when 2 guards approached her. "Ma'am, you're under suspicion of theft." Security footage, edited, manipulated, showed her slipping jewelry into her bag. Shoppers whispered. Cameras recorded. Clara's hands trembled as she tried to explain, but no one listened, until Adrian appeared. He pulled out his phone, showing the original unedited footage he'd obtained from a friend. The truth cleared Clara's name in seconds, but the damage was done. Sophia had declared war. That night, Clara sat alone in the locker room of the half-lit stadium. The rain outside mirrored her tears. Adrian walked in, his jacket damp, his voice steady. "You've been fighting alone for too long," he said. "Let me stand beside you, for real." Before Clara could respond, her phone buzzed. A new headline appeared. "Breaking: Adrian Cole under investigation for hidden child scandal." Her heart stopped. She turned to Adrian, his face pale, his jaw clenched. The truth was about to change everything. The air inside the stadium turned cold. Clara's hands shook as she read the article again, hoping she had misunderstood. Adrian Cole, former European MVP, accused of hiding an illegitimate child. Eli. The name echoed in her head. No, it couldn't be. Adrian's voice broke the silence. Clara, I can explain. But she wasn't ready to listen. Explain what, Adrian? That you've been lying to me too? He took a step closer, his eyes heavy with truth. I didn't know, he said quietly. Not until recently. Adrian sat down, the weight of his past pressing on his shoulders. Years ago, during his early soccer career, he'd been close to a woman named Lena, kind, selfless, and devoted. But after a tragic accident, she vanished from his life without a word. Only later did he learn that she had been pregnant and had given birth in secret. I searched for them for years, Adrian said, his voice trembling. But by the time I found out, she was gone. All I had was a name, Eli. Clara's breath caught. Her eyes darted toward the small soccer ball Eli had left behind earlier that evening. Engraved with the initials AC, her voice cracked. Eli's last name is Cole? Adrian nodded. I took a DNA test last month, Clara. I didn't tell you because I didn't know how. The media frenzy exploded overnight. Reporters camped outside Clara's apartment. Sophia took the chance to strike again, calling every sponsor and accusing Clara of covering up fraud. Adrian's protecting his secret son through her, Sophia sneered in an interview clip. She's manipulating him, just like she did with Daniel. Public sympathy turned to suspicion. The club's reputation wavered, and once again, Clara stood at the edge of ruin, this time because of the man she trusted most. That night, Clara locked herself in her office at the club. Pictures of her late mother lined the walls, reminders of everything she'd lost and fought for. Tears streamed down her forehead. Why does love always end in betrayal? She whispered. Adrian knocked softly. Clara, please, let me explain. She turned to him, her eyes red. Do you have any idea what it feels like to give up everything and end up alone again? He didn't speak. Instead, he placed something on her desk, a worn letter written in faded ink. It was from her mother. The letter was dated a week before her mother's death. In it, she wrote about a boy with eyes like yours, Clara, a child her mother had once met during a charity soccer camp. That boy was Eli. The realization hit Clara like a wave. Her mother had met Eli years before Adrian ever returned. It was as if fate had tied their lives together long before any of this began. She looked up at Adrian, her anger melting into quiet understanding. Maybe we were meant to find each other, she whispered. The next morning, Adrian called a press conference. The world's cameras focused on him once again. I've made mistakes, he began, but hiding this boy was never one of them. I only learned the truth recently, and I will never be ashamed of being his father. He paused, glancing at Clara and Eli standing behind him. This woman beside me, she gave up her dream for love, and now she's teaching me what real love is. The crowd erupted in applause. Social media turned overnight. Hashtag Adrian Cole returns began trending worldwide. Sponsors came back. The club's name was cleared. But Sophia wasn't finished. She forged legal papers claiming full ownership of Manhattan United and stormed the club grounds with 2 lawyers. Get out, Clara, she hissed. This club is mine now. Clara stood firm. Not anymore. She reached into her folder and pulled out her mother's updated will, signed and notarized. It clearly stated, Manhattan United shall remain under the care of my daughter, Clara Evans. To preserve its legacy. The courtroom gasped. Sophia's face turned pale as the judge's gavel struck. Case dismissed. Weeks passed. The club blossomed with new energy, kids training under Adrian's mentorship, parents cheering in the stands. Eli was thriving too. He'd just been named the youngest player ever to join the city's junior league. Clara watched from the sideline, a proud smile on her face. Adrian joined her, wrapping an arm gently around her shoulder. Do you ever miss London? He asked. She shook her head. No, everything I ever needed is right here. He smiled. Including me? She laughed softly. Especially you. Under the evening lights of the stadium they rebuilt together, Adrian knelt down. Clara Evans, he said, his voice trembling, you gave up your dream once for love. Let me give it back to you, for life. Gasps echoed from the players and staff watching from the bleachers. Eli cheered, say yes, Mom. Clara covered her mouth, tears spilling. Yes, she whispered, 1,000 times, yes. The crowd erupted as Adrian slipped the ring on her finger. The stadium lights shimmered like stars around them. In the game of life, betrayal can destroy you, or it can lead you home. The final shot lingers on Eli scoring a goal, his jersey reading, Cole Evans, 10. Adrian lifts him in celebration. Clara wipes her tears, smiling through them. Their family, finally whole. Love, legacy, forgiveness.